There are some things that I have decided will end with me. In fact, there are some of these things that I've actually decided that I will not even claim or accept them into my generation, even for it to go into the next generation. Not because I do not like where I'm from, not at all. Where I'm from, who have come before me, or the society I grew up in, the culture I grew up in, I do not hate these things. I do not hate these aspects of who I am, but rather I love who I'm becoming more. I like the direction I'm going into more. And so I'm fiercely going to hold on to that and take that with me to make life for myself easier and also for my generation after me. The first one is I am not going to allow silence to break or destroy things even further. We have this culture of silence that we used to cover things. In fact, like you take silence as a blanket and throw it over everything. And then they'll tell you things like, don't talk, don't say anything. It will bring disgrace. Don't say anything. Just let it go. No, I'll not let it go because one, silence protects the abusers, be it financial abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse. They use the silence to protect themselves because they know that once they are saving face, they don't have to, bear the consequences, the repercussions of their actions, the sanctions that they might actually have to go through or get for the wrong they have done. They know they will not get it. So when you are quiet, it protects them. Not only that, it also traumatizes the victims even more. Why am I saying this? For example, some people actually need to talk to psychologists, even not just psychologists or psychotherapists alone, just venting it out, just being heard. I remember things happened in my family and I was talking, they were like, oh, be quiet, he's an adult. Hey, and I wish I had been listened to. Okay, if you don't want it to go out, then let me tell you within the family, even then they will shush. I don't know with this culture of silence. I am not going to accept it. And no, I'm not saying that everything must be aired out. I'm not saying don't, apply discernment and wisdom. You have to know where to say what. Definitely. You have to know which avenue to share what, because sometimes the places you will share actually compound the issues. That is also there. So I'm not saying that everything has to be shared at any time. No, there has to be discernment applied. But that blank statement of silence is golden, that statement of respect the family name or protects the family name, please, if there's no me, there's no family. If I'm not thriving, the family name will still be pulled through the mud, be dragged through the mud because it's going to be evident that we are not thriving. Defining success by societal standards. And this will be point 2 and 3. The first part is defining success by society standards because one, not everybody is made for university. Not everybody is going to buy a big car. Not everybody's success is the one that is even visible. Some people's success is actually very quiet, very taciturn. You would never see it except you are someone who is also in that field or who has told that same path. That is when you will see some people's success is actually overcoming mental health issues, mental health disorders. Some people's success is going through a whole year, a whole 2 years without relapsing in whatever they are battling with, whatever sickness they are battling with. Some people's success is losing weight and staying healthy. Not everybody has to get 500,000 US dollars a month or 500,000 euros a year. That is not necessarily success. Not everyone is meant to get a PhD. Not everyone's even yearns to be married. Not everyone yearns to have a child. Not everyone yearns to have a male child. Success is not something that has to be general. I believe that success is personal. I believe that success is something that you have to define for yourself. And that is when you find your purpose, to be very fair, to be very honest. So when I wake up in the morning, what I deem as success is what that would determine the activities that I would do that day. So let me say, for example, if I want to make sure that this channel is started off and going, I need to prepare this video because the team is waiting for me. They've given me deadlines to film these things, So That is success for me. If I want to be successful, I have to go to work, I have to finish these tasks, I have to sit down, study, prepare for certain exams. That is success for me. There are other people whose success is building their business. So do they have to talk to their producers? They have to talk to their clients, their workers. That is what will determine your day-to-day affairs. That is what determines your personal sense of fulfillment and happiness. So yes, don't be looking at what others are doing and thinking that I want that, because that is because you don't have any purpose within you. Because why would you see what somebody has and think I want that? But if you have your purpose, you would also feel, accomplished in your own field, in your own path. Living my life on societal timeline. I posted this on my Instagram as well. I have seen a lot of young women who will be like, I wanted to be married by 30, and then they married garbage. They married garbage of the highest order. Why? Because you wanted to be married by 30, because that is the norm. I think being a West African, I see it more with us, especially Nigerians and then Ghanaians. And then I have friends from Southern Africa who do not even care about all these things. I understand that from a Christian or from a very strong Christian background, the earlier you get married, the better for, sexual morality, purity, and all that. But if you detach sex from your life, or you are sexually disciplined, you find your partner when you find him, and that is not going to be the main motivation for you to get married. Detach timeline from your life. Once I did that for myself, that was 2022, I just relaxed and tackled my goals, my childhood dreams, things that I wanted to do, and not feel like, oh, then I'll be 40 when I'm done. And so then you're 40, but then you have more money. Simple. You just have to understand that life is not a race. You do not have to rush your purpose to please other people. So when pressure is coming, remember, what is my purpose? What do I want for myself? How is my plan? That's why I say in all this, you have to do that introspective, look and ask yourself those hard questions and write them down. It doesn't have to be, I want to go to the moon. If you want to go to the moon, write it down. NASA is waiting. Find out how you can enter NASA and all of that. Or even the German version of it. It is all possible. Shrinking myself because of what other people think. I talked about silence and how they use silence to protect family's image. This is more of a personal one. I'm someone who is naturally tall. I live in a country where everybody looks different from the way I look. I look different from the way because they are the majority. So I'm in a country where white Caucasians are the norm. I'm a black girl. I even wanted to assimilate. Like I was wearing weaves, and at some point I said, you know what? Let me be myself and be a constant for myself. Let my hair be constant and consistent, and also let my hair grow like my personality. So me getting the locks is also, a way of me being true to myself. I'll talk about that in another lock video. But even my appearance, right? I was like, what would they think? Especially as I'm in the legal field, I'm an interpreter. I go to court like weekly, daily, sometimes every day in the week. And I was like, what would they think? But now look at me sitting here with my micro locks, thriving, dyed burgundy. The color is called Burgundy Envy. And that is even one aspect. The other aspect is when I started content creation, I was very conscious of topics that I deemed not controversial. I didn't want to talk about certain things, but I realized that the more I delved into the harder topics, even in the legal aspects, even in talking about thriving in Germany, what Germany is doing wrong, what the foreigners are doing wrong, I realized that this is what people need to talk about. I realized that it is helping someone. I realized that it is also helping me to grow, because I also had to ask myself the hard questions. I think about exactly a year ago, I posted this reel that I have unlocked life's biggest hack, which is living your life unapologetically and crucifying shame. We are in Easter season, yes. Crucify shame, like hang shame on the wall and tell shame, bye-bye. I'm not saying that you will not apply decorum. No, I'm saying that I'm ashamed, I'm shy. Hey, time is running and you need to fulfill your purpose. And let me say this from a Christian perspective or from the biblical perspective. The talents that were given to you, if you do not enhance them, if you do not multiply them, if you do not work with them, what will you tell Jesus on the judgment day? Okay, that aside, if you have talents, They are there to also make you happy. Like, I remember when I was singing, I thought I had a talent to sing. It didn't matter. When I was singing, I felt happy. Now I feel like I'm good at speaking, at public speaking. And once I do that, I feel like I'm in my element. And that also adds to how I feel within myself, my self-value, my self-esteem, and all of that. It does something to you and how you view yourself and your self-confidence. If you don't want a biblical aspect, that is it. Identify your talents, take those talents and run with them. I'm sure you have at least two things that come to mind where you feel like, if you don't know what your talent is, what do you do that makes you feel happy, fulfilled, and also in a positive way? Because some of you will be, thinking about your kinks and your fetish. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the positive things that can add to humanity or can add to the conversations that are going on and push humanity forward. That's why people have doctorate degrees, like doctor's degrees and PhDs, because they are pushing humanity forward. So what is your own doctor's degree field, basically? That's the question. What are your talents? Embrace them and enhance them. That is my word for you. If you do not take anything from this video today, that is what I'll give you. Centering men. I wish I didn't center men in my early 20s, in my teenage years. I come from a culture, as I said, where marriage is one of the ultimate. I remember someone told me, I worry like marriage is the glory of a woman. It's your crown. And I remember one of my mom's friends, whenever like I would serve her food or I'll do something that she'd be like, Nyamima wawari pa. Nyamima okunu pa. What am I asking? Nyamima misika wu. Nyamima misika. Hey. She was like, oh, may God, give you a good marriage. May God give you a great husband. And one time I said, tell God to give me money. Bless me with money. And funny enough, my Nigerian name is Adego. The girl born on top of wealth, the girl born on top of money. And so I really love money. I would work for my coins, and whenever I'm working, that's also another motivation for me. Because I know that I can write my invoice. I know that at the end of the month, clink, 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 clink. That is what pushes me, to be very honest. I love making money. I love spending money. I'm working on loving how to save the money. So, that is it. I wish I didn't center men so much, because I remember 16, 17, 18, 19, I was already working towards my Mrs. title. Like when a guy would talk to me, I'd be like, so what is your full name? If he says something like, oh, Asamoah, I'll be like, Mrs. Phoebe Asamoah. Okay, now it sounds good, but that's when I was like, oh, wow. No. Mrs. Phoebe Smith. Oh, hey. You have, okay. I was concentrating on that even more than a career, because I felt like that was my place to be, that was the first thing, because without being married and having kids, I would not be complete. Today, I'm married, but I'm going to tell you that my personal projects also fulfill me. And knowing that I, in myself, I am also enough. I'm never going to say looking for a partner is the wrong thing, but a lot of us have centered our lives around men so much that even our own purpose has been defeated. Like, we have even left that purpose behind. We are not looking for that purpose. We are not, building into that purpose. And that is worrisome. So if you are someone who is literally putting your life on hold because of a man, because you want to be, booed up with this guy, and he's even, giving you these breadcrumbs treatments, and he's not giving you the love, and he's not even aligning with your principles. We'll also talk about how to date within your principles, or with your principles, not within, but with your principles as your guide. I will talk about that in another video. So if you haven't yet subscribed, please subscribe. I will introduce the channel properly at the end of this video, but that is it. Number 6, blind hyper religion. Like this hyper fanatic religious, you probably already heard that I love God and I love my Bible because there are some truths in it. I'm saying some because I do not understand everything. I do not agree with everything. And that is okay, because I'm told to have a childlike faith. So children ask questions. And I used to think that childlike faith means I have to imbibe everything and believe everything and say hallelujah to everything. But no, I have to actually ask questions. I have to think critically as well. Because when you tell a child this is yellow, he'll tell you, why is the color yellow there? And then you have to say, okay, maybe because it's already in nature, or maybe it's not in nature, it's a mixture of colors, or that's how I don't know, but you would have to find an answer to it. And it is okay to ask questions. It is okay to deep dive into some topics in the Bible for you to even understand. I think that the more you do this deep dive, the more you realize that if you need God to tell you to be a good person, then you are problematic. That is where I'm going to end it. And hyper religion, the reason why I am not going to do that to myself and to my next generation is this. In everything, there should be a balance. And even the Bible says it, right? There should be a balance. If you look at the 7 carnal sins, you realize that it is when you lose control over your sexual desires, over even food, gluttony, when you lose control over your emotions, when you lose control over materialism, that's why you start being envious. If you look at all these carnal sins in the book of Galatians, it tells you that the lack of balance, self-control, is the problem. If you don't sit down and actually understand this for yourself, and you're always thinking of, she's wearing a mini skirt, she's wearing an anklet, and you're even obsessed with how things look, the image of Christianity in itself, then no, that is not going to be for me. I'm not going to be in church 7 days a week. I'm not going to do hip hop every morning at 7 a.m. I have discovered spirituality for myself. I have discovered my journey with God for myself. And at the same time, that has given me enough maturity not to judge any other person. If I see other person doing it, I just think, okay, that is where they are now. Maybe tomorrow they will not do it anymore. Maybe tomorrow they will also be where I am. But then their walk is not my walk. That's what I said. That's what I mean. Like, let everybody day in day. Just no cross my day. But for me and my household, we will strike a balance. For me and my household, we will be honest with ourselves. For me and my household, we will ask questions. For me and my household, we are not going to do this. And when there's even time for us to go to the hospital, when it's time for us to get certain treatment, we'll be saying it's against our views and God is the ultimate healer and omnipotent. No, that is what I mean by fanatic religion practice or religious practice, not here. And the last thing that I rebuke in this lifetime of mine is the obsession with suffering and endurance. It's even gone so far that when we are eating, we save the protein for last. And now that I'm on a healthcare journey or health conscious journey about the way I eat, I've realized that when I eat my proteins and my salads first, my fiber first, I actually get fuller and I stay fuller for longer. So I don't have to eat the carbs, the rice first, and reward myself with meat. That's how I eat my fufu. Little fufu, plenty meat, I am not going to endure a bad marriage and say that I was a virtuous woman. You will get some kind of disease because of the emotional strain. You will catch something and die. And those children that you are protecting, you will die and leave them behind. There's no reward or medal for endurance and suffering. Chop life, fool. Enjoy life, even the little things. Of course, nothing good comes easy. You have to study, you have to take the long hours, But if you see purposeless suffering that you can get out easily, purposeless suffering that is not needed, not necessary, where you don't even have, the suffering does not have any headache, so there's no plan. You are enduring an abusive marriage. The person is beating you every day, and you are saying he will change. What is that direction? What? How do you influence somebody's action? You yourself, have you influenced yourself enough to influence him to say he will change? Or it's the same thing for women as well. Like for men, if she is not acting right, what makes you think they would act right? How much control do you have over yourself to even extend that control to another person, or self-control, or even that influence? No, there's no badge for suffering well done. There's nothing like suffering well done. And that I refuse to adapt to my life or even give to my children. It will not happen. Breaking cycles will look like a rebellion. You will meet resistance. But then, once you know what you are after, what you want for yourself, just keep calm and pursue that. If you have not seen me before, my name is Phoebe. I live in Germany. I've been living here for the past 22 years, going on 23 next year. Yeah, let me say 22. I came in 2004. I've schooled here, grown up here, and I am now consciously working on living life fully. I'm now consciously working on healing from grief. Yes, I lost my mom. She was only 51. She was about to turn 52. That's a very young age, and nobody expected my mother to die. And I didn't expect that as well. I've worked through the grief. I will say the hard part I have, there are still days where I sit down and I break down for the whole day. Even now, the tears are coming again. I cannot talk about my mom without getting teary, and I've learned so much from these 3-4 years that have happened. I'll be sharing that with you as well. The name of this channel, Phoebe K, is from my mother's name, Kumasa. Kumasa is an area name. My mother was from Anyaku, from the Volta region. Her father was from Anyaku. My mom was half Nigerian, half Ghanaian. Kumasa means death does not announce itself. Ekumesa now, death does not announce itself. And that I have translated into YOLO. You only live once. You don't know when you would go. You don't know when death will come. As I said, that doesn't even, in my language, that doesn't even knock, okay? So it can come at any time. So make sure that every minute counts, every day counts, and every day I try to have my own golden deed. I try to have my own glimmer, my own happy moments. I would also be sharing with you the tips that I got from grief, that I've, like grief therapy. I went to grief counseling as well. And one of them was, after every day, count 3 things that were good, that went well. And that helped me a lot to calm down and sleep, you know. And other little things, I'll also be sharing with you vlogs from my travels because I love traveling. But this channel is for us to have this honest conversations. I'll be bringing other people on for these, you know, societal issues, what we are encountering as women, young women, Black African women living abroad in the diaspora and all of that. Because yes, I'm still the Phoebe from the Phoebe way, but I decided to start this channel again because these conversations have to be had, and I cannot have them on the Phoebe way because that channel has established itself as a Life in Germany legal channel, and when I post the lifestyle stuff there, people don't get to see them as much. So yes, this is your call to like this video, hype this video for me, share this video, subscribe, and I also want to know what you think about this channel, topics that we should talk about. If you want to come on, yes, please let me know. And yes, thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for subscribing. Thanks so much for your support. And I'm looking forward to an exciting journey ahead of us. Take good care of yourselves, and we'll speak very, very soon.